How to disappear and come back stronger than ever. You move in silence now. You return on your terms. You got left on red, blocked on Instagram, watched your ex show up at a rooftop party in Brooklyn with another guy while your friends whispered. Maybe you begged on FaceTime. Maybe you sent that last text at 2 a.m. and woke up sick. The respect walked out the door with her heels, and you've been carrying the humiliation since. Good, because today, the begging ends. Today, you take your name back. This is the blueprint. Not drama, not revenge, strategy. You disappear the right way. No contact with the spine, purpose over pain, routine over rumination. You stop bleeding status and start building it. Body, bank, boundaries. Gym at 6 a.m., numbers up by Q4, circled tighter by the weekend. You become the man who doesn't chase validation. You become the man whose presence is the validation. When you come back, at a Yankees game, at a Miami brunch, on LinkedIn with a promotion, walking into a room in a fitted suit, you don't announce it. Your results announce it for you. Stay with me, because in this video I'm giving you the exact logic. When to vanish, how long, what to cut, what to keep, and the silent signals that flip the frame back in your favor. Subscribe to the channel right now and check the first pinned comment. There's a free, no-fluff checklist to go deeper and execute this like a professional. You've tried feelings. It didn't work. Ready to try discipline? In the next part, I'll show you the first move of the disappearance that most men get wrong. And it's not blocking her. Are you calm enough to play a long game? If you're calm enough, here's the first move. You don't block her, you block your own impulse to perform pain. You close the stage curtains and cut the mic. No cryptic stories, no healing quotes, no subtext. You don't turn your heartbreak into a public diary for Instagram to feed on. Power is quiet. Influence is what people feel when your silence starts to cost them curiosity. You don't stalk. You don't orbit her stories. You don't check who she's with. You don't drive past her building in Williamsburg or Echo Park just to see. You don't ask her friend the "how is she doing" question. You don't drunk text from a bar on the Lower East Side and call it closure. You don't beg on FaceTime. You don't send a playlist at midnight. You don't write an essay about how you'll be better someday. You don't sell your dignity for a reply. And you do not accept the demotion to friend so you can audit her life from the front row. That role is a cage disguised as access. You weren't born to sit quietly in the corner while she rehearses a new romance. You're not her therapist, not her fan club, not her emotional Uber. You are a man with a name to protect. So what does disappearing look like in America, 2025? It looks like logistics, not feelings, logistics. You mute, not out of spite, out of discipline. You remove her from your daily feed so the algorithm stops weaponizing your attention. You stop visiting old threads like they're altars. You clear photos from your favorites so your phone doesn't ambush you at 11 p.m. You don't announce any of it. You move like a CEO doing a quiet restructuring, and then you replace the hours you used to spend refreshing with hours that compound. Gym at 6 a.m., even when the bed is warm. A money target you can measure by Friday. A project that moves your career from replaceable to essential. Groceries in your fridge and a kitchen that looks like a man lives there, not a college dorm. Haircut sharp, shoes clean, shoulders pulled back. You stop chasing a conversation and start building a reputation. You want the hack? There isn't one, there is only standard. And that's why most men fold. They glance at her story, they see a new guy in a Soho rooftop photo, and they break formation. They spiral, they call, they drink and text. They show up where they're not invited. They write paragraphs, they become nice. And in that softness, they bleed status. You don't. You carry your silence like a tailored suit. You keep your hands steady on the wheel while everyone else swerves. Let me show you how a common man turns this into a rebirth. Evan, 29, Queens, mid-level analyst in Midtown. He got dumped on a rainy Tuesday right before a team off-site. He did everything wrong for 3 days. Checked her location, scrolled through an old vacation album, DM'd, "We need to talk." No answer. Day 4, he changed addresses in his mind. He deleted the thread. He muted, archived, and went dark. He joined a boxing gym in Astoria and scheduled sessions like meetings he could not miss. He swapped late-night takeout for a cast-iron pan and a grocery list. He stopped arguing and started compiling results. 30 days, the jawline showed up. 45, his manager pulled him into a conference room to talk promotion path. 60, he moved into a one-bedroom with light and a view. 90, he walked into a friend's rooftop in Long Island City wearing calm like cologne. She was there. They made eye contact. He nodded once and kept moving. The air shifted. Not because he staged it, but because he built it. He became a man you can't just text at 11 and expect to see at 11:30. He became unavailable in the way that matters. In purpose, in posture, in principle. When she messaged months later, "Proud of you, you've changed," he didn't gloat. He didn't punish. He didn't rush. He was busy. He had become the kind of man whose absence is expensive. Here's the part nobody tells you. Disappearing is not isolation. It's curation. Your circle gets smaller and stronger. 2 friends who don't feed your drama but enforce your standards. A mentor who speaks to your future, not your wounds. A Sunday reset that sets the week, laundry done, calendar locked, meals prepped, no chaos. You convert loneliness into solitude, and solitude into leverage. The room you once filled with her becomes a workshop for your next version. How long do you stay gone? Long enough to be different. Not 30 days on a timer, 30 days that produce proof. Long enough that if she reappears, she's meeting a man who doesn't need her to be okay. Long enough that your silence has a spine. Riddle me this. If she texted you tomorrow, could you read it without your heart sprinting? If the answer is no, you're not done. You want the frame to flip? Then your signals must change. You walk slower, you speak less. You look people in the eye without asking for permission to be there. You show up to the Yankees game because your team invited you to the suite, not because you hoped she'd see it. You post less and accomplish more. LinkedIn sees your numbers climb. Your bank sees deposits, not impulse charges. You carry a book on the plane, and your posture tells the cabin you have a destination beyond the gate. You stop narrating your grind and let your results do the talking. No explanations, only outcomes. Listen to the codes, because they do not bend. Silence over reaction. Scarcity of presence, abundance of purpose. Never negotiate attraction. Standards first, feelings follow. No explanations, only outcomes. Read them again. They are not slogans, they are safeguards. They keep you from the late-night weakness that costs you morning respect. They teach you to pass the tests that are never announced. The accidental like on your story, the "I miss us" text without accountability, the invite to coffee that is really an exit strategy from boredom. You don't get pulled back into a past you've outgrown. You don't explain why. You don't argue your value. You let the door stay closed and you keep building rooms with better views. What about the friend route? Let's stay in each other's lives. That's a velvet trap. It feels mature. It bleeds you dry. You become her emotional storage unit while she dates for clarity. You're the standby flight that never boards. You don't sit in purgatory. You don't hold her coat while she dances with someone else and call it grace. You choose distance with dignity. And if fate brings you into the same room, you are cordial, concise, and busy. Respectful, not available. And the nights? The ones when the city's loud and your apartment's quiet? That's when men break, or that's when men are made. You pour the whiskey back in the bottle. You put the phone face down and go run the bridge. You leave the bar at 10, not 2. You keep your promises to yourself when nobody's watching. That's the work. That's the difference. That's the long game. Because here's the truth that stings before it saves. If she lost respect for you, it wasn't because you cared. It was because you abandoned your own center to prove it. You reclaim that center now. You become a man who can love without losing himself. The kind of man who doesn't chase closure. He creates completion by building a life that cannot be downgraded by a breakup. You move like a man with a last name to defend. You never raise your voice, you raise your standards. You don't seek permission, you set terms. And when you reappear, at a Miami brunch on a Sunday where the sunlight does you favors, at a client dinner in Dallas where you sign the deal, at a family wedding in Chicago where your suit fits like a decision, You don't say a word. The room says it for you. Now, how do you know exactly when to break silence, what to say if she reaches out, and the one move that locks your frame for good? That's the judgment every man thinks he can improvise, and that's where they fall. In the next part, we hand down the sentence, timing, language, and the final rule that decides whether you open the door or leave it closed forever. Stay calm. The verdict is coming. Stay calm? Good. Here's the verdict. You break silence only when 3 conditions are true. 1. Your pulse is steady. You can read her name on your phone without your chest racing or your hands shaking. 2. There is proof on the board. Not intentions, results. 30, 60, 90 days of receipts, body tighter, bank healthier, work respected, home in order. 3. There's a purpose beyond nostalgia. If there's no clear reason to speak, logistics, accountability, a real request, you stay gone. No timer, proof. If she reaches out, you answer like a judge, not a poet. Short, clear, on terms. Good to hear from you. I'm tied up this week. If there's something specific, call Friday 5:30, 10 minutes. If she says, I miss us, you don't volunteer memories. If there's something concrete to discuss, say it. If she sends a midnight playlist or an I was thinking of you, you don't chase subtext. You don't do midnight. You don't do maybe. You do clarity or you do silence. If she asks to be friends, that's a velvet rope to the same cage. The answer is clean. I don't do demotions. Wishing you well. No essays, no lecture. Door closed with dignity. If she takes ownership, I disrespected what we had. I understand why. Here's how I've changed. I want exclusivity and I'm prepared to meet your standards. Then you consider a meeting. Public. Daylight. 1 hour. You dress like a decision and keep your voice low. You don't negotiate respect. You don't audition. You don't talk about old wounds like campfire stories. You lay out structure. If we proceed, it's exclusivity, boundaries clear, honesty immediate, effort measured. One mistake we can repair, a pattern we don't. If she hedges, if she blames, if she wants vibes without vows, you shake hands and leave it in the past. Your piece is not up for discussion. Language that keeps you a man. I'm unavailable tonight. That doesn't work for me. Here's what I can do. Let's put it on the calendar. I don't revisit what disrespected me. 10 words and done. No nerves spilled. No opinion parade. You'll feel the urge to explain. Don't. Explanations are leaks. Outcomes are locks. Timing that protects your spine. You never break silence first. Not at 2 weeks, not at 2 drinks, not because you saw a rooftop story in Soho. Your presence is scarce because your purpose is full. You don't orbit, you don't signal, you don't bait, you live. Final rule. The door law. The door opens from your side only, and only once. If you open it, it's because accountability walked up with both hands visible. If you keep it closed, you do not peek through the peephole at 1 a.m. to check. Closure is not a conversation. Closure is conduct. You close the door by building a life where respect is the floor. Read the codes back to yourself and carve them into your day. Silence over reaction. Presence scarce, purpose abundant. Standards first, feelings follow. Never negotiate attraction. No explanations, only outcomes. A man with a last name to defend does not perform pain for strangers. He does not sit in the friend seat and call it maturity. He does not chase the past. He raises the bar and makes the present expensive. You want to know when you're ready to reappear? When rooms go quiet because your discipline walked in, not because your drama did. When you're at a Yankees suite because your client sent the invite. When your Miami Sunday looks like sunlight, not thirst. When LinkedIn shows numbers, not narratives. When you can look her in the eye at a Chicago wedding and your heartbeat stays bored. That's when you don't need to say a word. The room reads the verdict for you. And the nights, the quiet ones, the ones that test your throat and your thumbs. That's where men fold or men form. You pour the whiskey back. You turn the phone face down. You go run the bridge. You pack tomorrow's gym bag. You cook your own dinner. You keep your word to yourself in the dark so the light has something to reflect. Pain becomes fuel. Silence becomes signal. Routine becomes reputation. This is America, 2025. Men don't get canceled by breakups. They get clarified. You reclaim your center. You decide the terms. You choose distance with dignity. If fate brings her back to your table, you sit like a CEO, not a starving artist. Terms, clarity, calm. If it's not that, you stand up and let someone else rent the noise. One word to engrave on the inside of your watch, on the lock screen, on the mirror you face in the morning. Sovereignty. That's the whole play. Your time, your terms, your tone. You are not cold. You are clear. You are not cruel. You are costly. Now look in the mirror. If she texted tonight, are you a man who needs her to feel okay, or a man who's already okay and therefore chooses? If you don't like the answer, fix the man, not the message. If this hit you where it needed to, subscribe. If you're choosing sovereignty, like the video so the algorithm sends it to a man who needs it. Drop a comment with your verdict, door closed or terms only, and the exact standard you're enforcing this week. Real men write their terms and keep them. Final decree. Respect first, always. Everything else negotiates. Verdict delivered. Sovereignty.